Discovered, how a shy waitress's amazing act saved a billionaire's life. The touching truth exposed. Lily stood behind the counter of the diner, the scent of greasy burgers and sweet pies thick in the air. This was her sanctuary, yet each day, the weight of her responsibilities slammed against her like a freight train. Her father's death carved a hollow space within her, and now, at 24, she wore the burden of supporting her single mother and younger brother. The chatter of patrons, once comforting, now felt like creeping shadows, amplifying her anxieties. Could she make rent this month? Would she let her family down again? The bell above the door chimed softly, drawing her out of her spiraling thoughts. A newcomer entered. Henry Caldwell. The billionaire sat in the corner, his crisp suit stark against the worn-out booths, a storm cloud hovering over his brow. She approached him, her hands clammy around the notepad. He ordered a coffee and apple pie, his voice heavy, as if carrying the weight of an invisible anchor. Gulping down her fears, she hesitated. She couldn't shake the sense that his presence might shift her mundane routine into something deeper. As she poured his coffee, she caught snippets of his conversation on the phone, strained tones, raw emotion, thoughts of loss, of separation. His shoulders slumped under silence that echoed louder than any words. Why was he here? And why did it feel like the world outside had vanished, leaving just the two of them submerged in their grief? Her heart raced, she felt a surge of empathy that threatened to dissolve her self-imposed walls. Everything okay? She ventured cautiously, her voice barely above a whisper. The inquiry hung in the air, tinged with vulnerability. The brows furrowed deeper on his forehead, a palpable tension spiraling between them, both grappling with unspoken fears. He sighed, the sound cradling both despair and release, finding solace in the emptiness of her question. Not really, he finally admitted, vulnerability glimmering in his eyes. They spoke of family, filled with emotional milestones, her father's smile that once brightened her days, and his son's absence that consumed him. The connection forged in the warmth of greasy food and searing honesty sparked an odd flicker of hope. Yet, her heart sank as she listened to him outline plans to liquidate his family's estate. Was letting go of memories the answer, or merely an escape? A part of her screamed that both of their lives were hanging by threads, and she was just a waitress pouring coffee. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The diner buzzed, but the chatter morphed into tidal waves of noise, whispers about closing down, defeat spreading faster than wildfire. Each muted conversation stung her deeply as though they were all exposed, raw with despair. Desperation clawed at her insides, the thought of losing the diner a final nail in the coffin of her family's dream. She glanced at Henry, his expression darkening into a mask of uncertainty as he considered his next move. Every instinct urged her to dig deeper, to confront him, yet doubt wove like a vine around her heart. Was she merely a waitress, or could she reclaim power in this crumbling narrative? As she held on to her plate, her fingers trembled, caught between the lines of fear and determination, unsure if she had the courage to spark change. The unspoken question clouded her mind: could she unearth the strength to face the daunting dilemma of their intertwined fates? And what if the answer could reshape both their lives irrevocably? Lily's heart raced as she stood there, teetering on the precipice of an uncharted emotional landscape. The familiar hum of the diner had morphed into an unsettling backdrop, and every tick of the clock felt like a countdown to a decision that could alter the course of her life. She could see Henry's narrowed eyes, clouds of doubt swirling above him. Suddenly, the familiar plates and cups, her tools for survival, became symbols of her stunted ambition. A sense of urgency thrummed within her. "Why don't you tell me what you really want?" she blurted out, surprising herself with her boldness. His gaze caught hers, an electric moment sparking between them, drawing him out of his internal storm. Was she really about to pry into the affairs of a billionaire? The thought terrified her, yet something deep inside urged her on. In his eyes, she could see a flicker of appreciation. Perhaps it was her courage, or the relatability of her question. The stern lines of his face softened briefly, as if her inquiry peeled back a layer of armor he had forged against the world. "To be honest, I don't even know anymore," he confessed, a sincerity glowing like a beacon amidst his chaos. His vulnerability settled into her bones, igniting a flicker of something powerful. This was not just about coffee and pie anymore. Here was someone grappling with loss and purpose as she was, trapped in a waiting room of life, both longing for meaning beyond their mundane realities. What if letting go isn't the answer? She ventured, encouraged by her own instinct for connection. What if there is still something worth saving? His brow furrowed slightly as he contemplated her words. The gravity of his impending decision weighed heavily on the diner, and she sensed the tipping point of their discussion, a moment where hope collided with despair. The tentative connection blossomed further. "You think keeping it would change anything?" he asked, genuine curiosity framing his question. Lily hesitated, the depth of her own answer threatening to swallow her whole. She thought of her family, and the dreams hidden beneath the weight of responsibility. "It could," she replied, voice steadier now. "Sometimes, facing things that frighten us can open new paths we never imagined." Watching him, she realized that even in their vulnerability, an opportunity lay dormant. The wisdom they exchanged, tinged with pain, felt like dual awakening in a shared struggle. Suddenly, the diner wasn't just a backdrop to her monotonous existence, it shimmered with potential, a vessel for transformation. Inspired, Lily shifted her approach. "I don't know much about your family's history, but maybe preserving it, redefining it, could be your way forward. If it helps keep the memories alive, it's not just about material things." Her voice was no longer quaking but echoing with newfound conviction. Henry's demeanor shifted, the harsh lines of despair visibly softening. "How does a waitress born in this diner know so much about wealth and worth?" he asked with a hint of intrigue. "Because," she spoke earnestly, "just like you, I'm fighting to figure things out. I'm tired of feeling powerless." A ripple of determination surged through her, illuminating the dark crevices of her fears. What if this was her moment to break free from the chains of her past? In that moment, boundaries dissolved. She was no longer merely a waitress tending to his needs, but a partner in grappling with life's complexities. They were equals in this confrontation of grief and hope. Could two people, bound by loss, construct something new from the ashes of their former selves? As she gazed into Henry's eyes, a new plan began to take shape in her mind, a melding of aspirations and rebuilding. For the first time, she envisioned possibilities that extended beyond the diner's walls. But just as clarity began to unfold, the bell above the door rang again, drawing her attention away. A familiar face stepped in, a reminder of her reality crashing back in. The weight of her responsibilities anchored her once more, yet she couldn't shake the feeling that she had taken the first step into a larger world. The stage was set, but the next act was fraught with uncertainty. The very question lingered: could she and Henry harness their resurrected ambitions to stake a claim against their fears? The air thickened with potential as she prepared for what lay ahead. Her heart racing, Lily felt the thrill of possibility. She was ready to confront whatever would come next. The bell above the diner door chimed again, and Lily's heart sank at the sight of Vanessa, her boss, approaching with a usual pace that signaled impending work. A part of her felt irritated. Could nobody see that there had been an authentic moment in play? As Vanessa slipped into the routine of giving orders, Lily forced her mind to shift back to Henry. There was power in vulnerability, she realized, a resource she had dismissed in her everyday life. The transformative exchange she had shared with Henry sparked a frisson of hope within her, a truth she had long neglected. Yet, as she resumed her duties, pouring coffee, cleaning tables, she could almost see the flickering ghost of that moment fade into the background. "Hey, Lily!" Vanessa called, her voice sharp, cutting through the warm haze of the diner. "Get a move on. We've got customers waiting. Shaping her expression into one of professional composure, Lily met Vanessa's gaze. The nonchalance that usually enveloped her feelings morphed into something akin to determination. She realized she had enough of just letting life happen around her. Her interaction with Henry unearthed a truth too potent to ignore. She wanted more. As the morning dripped into afternoon, she found herself unexpectedly energized by the mundane responsibilities of the diner. Instead of dreading customer interactions, she became fascinated by the stories etched in their faces. With each person that walked through the door, she practiced connection, opening up to snippets of lives deeper than coffee orders. When she approached a grizzled man with faded tattoos tracing one forearm, he looked up and said, "You're different today, kid." The compliment startled her. Where had this newfound courage come from? She considered his remark carefully. Perhaps the weight she previously wore held shadows that could be lifted. Each day became an exercise in not just fulfilling her role but in stepping up to embrace a narrative that was wholly hers. After closing one evening, Lily packed up the last of the dishes while her heart still raced from the discussions she'd had with Henry in the diner. Realizing she was conversing and connecting more, she contemplated whether her perspective on her own life was shifting. She was no longer just a cog in the diner's machinery. At that moment, she understood that her understanding of ambition was now woven into the fabric of who she was. It wasn't merely about escape from her responsibilities but about redefining them. Her thoughts turned back to Henry. Perhaps she could initiate an idea. She could invite him to participate in discussions about his family's business, reviving her connection to him. What if they pooled their insights, integrating her perspective as a waitress with his financial acumen? The thought sent a jolt of excitement through her veins. She recalled telling him that saving a legacy might take strength, and now she felt more equipped to be a part of that journey herself. The next morning, the diner was quieter than usual, and she lay awake, contemplating her new plan. Perhaps she could approach Henry directly. But would he even be receptive after their last meaningful exchange? The anxiety of potential rejection gripped her tightly. But the growing fire within urged her. If she was going to forge her destiny, she couldn't shrink back. This was it, she had to seize the opportunity. She tapped her phone, the familiar screen lighting up with a bold thought. Would Henry want to meet again? In her heart, she yearned to see the connection blossom, and the fear that accompanied her growing desire for more felt like the weight of a shield about to be cast aside. With a flickering determination, she typed out a message, wrestling with her instincts of doubt. What would she say? How daring could she be? The door swung open again, the familiar jingle breaking her focus, but this time it was Henry, looking surprised yet curious. Could he sense the change within her? Their gazes locked, the air crackled with a myriad of unspoken possibilities. In that moment, she understood that taking risks could open the doors to the very transformations she craved. Here was her chance to turn that spark of possibility into reality. But as he stepped closer, a sudden reality washed over her. Would he recognize the inner strength she was working to embrace? Would their connection survive the pressure of aspiration and ambition? With that unspeakable tension thick in the air, Lily could only wonder, would she dare to lean into this unknown and confront the chance to truly build something worth saving? The moment seemed suspended in time as Henry lingered just a few feet away, uncertainty etching itself on his face like a shadow. The diner buzzed faintly in the background, but all she could hear was the pounding of her heart. The familiar blend of coffee and grease wafted around her, grounding her in the space, yet her mind drifted to the possibilities that lay ahead. This was the moment she had teetered on the edge of for days. "Hey, Lily," he started, the words lingering in the air. "You seem different. What is going on?" She swallowed hard, the initial urge to retreat clawing at her. She wanted to respond with a quip or shift the focus back onto him, but instead, she felt a pull and need to be sincere, an urge to unveil the layers she had long kept hidden. "I'm trying to be," she managed, her voice steadier than she expected. "Different, I mean. I want to stop just going through the motions. You inspired me to think about my life differently." Confidence burgeoned within her, setting her thoughts alight. Henry's brows raised in surprise, a flicker of intrigue transforming his expression. Inspired? I didn't think I had that kind of impact. You're the one doing all the work here. Maybe, she replied, feeling a surge of audacity. But I'm realizing I need to take ownership of my life, where I want it to go. And I don't think it should just be here. The admission gave her pause, rebounding in her memory, yet she continued. Your family has so much potential with that business. I wonder if we could talk about it, maybe brainstorm some ideas together. For a heartbeat, she saw a storm of emotions cross his face: apprehension, interest, and something deeper she couldn't quite place. You want to help? Yes, she said firmly, buoyed by the adrenaline of her boldness. I want to be involved. I think I could contribute something valuable. Henry studied her for a moment, a blend of skepticism and admiration playing across his features. You have more to offer than you know, don't you? He asked, a spark igniting in his amber eyes. Lily felt warmth bloom in her chest, and for the first time, she believed in her worth, a concept as foreign to her as a far-off dream. This juncture wasn't just about helping him, it was about carving out a place in the world for herself, validating her own impulses and ideas. Could she step further into this business world, face criticism, and play a role that had once seemed beyond her reach? I want to prove it, she replied, her tone unwavering. I can consult. I want to explore options, maybe help you revitalize the family business. I've been spending so much time thinking about it, but what I really need is a chance to act. Let us talk, he said finally, the tension easing between them like a bridge being built. I see great potential in you. But, Lily, are you ready for what that may entail? Lily's stomach churned with both excitement and dread. The stakes felt astronomical. I think so. I'm ready to take risks. With a reassuring nod, Henry gestured to a booth not far from the counter. The invitation was an alluring one, a gateway into the world she had felt so far from. As they made their way to the booth, Lily stole a glance at him, the haunted look that often clouded his demeanor seemed to lift momentarily. Could they both reclaim control over the legacies that loomed over them? But lurking in the shadow of ambition was an unyielding reality. The moment she agreed to be part of something greater, she was also stepping into a dual existence. Would the weight of aspiration drive them together or pull them apart? The uncertainty loomed like a fracture line, a potential Pandora's box. As they settled into the booth, she realized that every discussion could lead to conflict and revelation. With every strategy shared, every plan unraveled, they risked tethering their fragile alliance to vulnerability. She felt the thrill of anticipation coil into determination. This was about much more than business, it was a quest to uncover and assert her identity. But a gnawing whisper crept in as Henry glanced at her. Expectantly. Would her deep-seated insecurities resurface? Would the tumultuous waters of their ambitions swallow them whole? The stage was set, the moment demanded more courage than she knew she possessed. In that booth, Lily understood she was on the precipice of transformation. The question lingered: what awaited them both in pursuing their ambitions, and would they emerge with their aspirations unscathed? With that thought haunting her, she took a deep breath, ready to reveal what they both truly feared: what if we're not enough? Lily felt a sharp intake of breath as their conversation hung suspended between them. What if they weren't enough? The weight of those words pressed heavily on her chest. For as long as she could remember, she had been submerged in mediocrity, surrendering her ambitions to the tide of routine. Now, poised on the edge of something transformative, she sensed the echo of her insecurities threatening to drown out her newfound resolution. Henry furrowed his brow, the bemusement in his eyes morphing into concern. What do you mean by that? His voice was low, encouraging her to unpack the turmoil swirling within her. The flicker of vulnerability lanced through her, igniting her resolve to confront the fears that had kept her shackled for so long. I mean, what if I fail? What if together we meet insurmountable resistance? I've spent so much time playing it safe, and now, stepping into this role feels daunting. What if I take on too much? He leaned forward, a newfound intensity flickering in his expression. You can't focus on the what-ifs if you want to make this work. What matters is action, and your willingness to embrace the unknown. That's where potential lies. Lily felt the pulse of her ambition beat louder against the backdrop of doubt. True, she could barely come to terms with her own capabilities after all. Who was she to lead the charge for a family business steeped in legacy? Yet Henry's words symphonized with a deep-seated conviction that had begun to awaken within her. What if this was her chance to redefine her identity? Henry, she ventured, emboldened by his encouragement, I want to brainstorm tonight, focus on the unique strengths I can bring to the table. I might never have run a business, but I've taken notes from every conversation, every interaction. I can survey the landscape, source ideas that align with your family's vision, and I can help. I can be a voice that amplifies your family's narrative. His eyes narrowed as though adjusting to her clarity. That's a smart approach. A consultant needs to believe in their influence. We'll be navigating uncharted territory, which requires adaptability and an openness to iterate on our plans as we learn from our successes and failures. Lily felt warmth surge through her. Perhaps she was beginning to understand that her perceived shortcomings weren't roadblocks but stepping stones on the path to growth. What if we start by assessing the current state of the business? Pinpointing what works, what doesn't? She suggested, amazed at the ideas bubbling forth as if unshackled. We could conduct surveys, gather feedback from staff and customers, maybe even employ a mixed method approach, both quantitative and qualitative data to truly encapsulate the community's desires. That's brilliant, Henry replied, his smile transforming his face. But remember, Lily, taking this initiative means confronting resistance not just from the business landscape but also within ourselves. I'll do my best to shield you from external pressures, but at some point, you'll have to face the skepticism that may come your way. A slight shiver coursed through her at the thought. The stakes felt higher now, but within the fear was an undeniable thrill. Could she truly face such adversity and remain steadfast? I'll prepare for it, she resolved, her tone firmer than it had ever been. The notion of discussing strategies as if she belonged in that world became a newfound motivation rather than a daunting task. Together, they sketched preliminary ideas on a napkin, their hushed strategizing morphing into an exhilarating exchange of concepts and aspirations. Every new thought burst forth, revealing layers of excitement in sharing and building upon each other's viewpoints. That booth, once just a stagnant place in a diner, transformed into a breeding ground of potential, a stark contrast to the past where her dreams sat quietly tucked away. But as their discussion deepened, a lingering anxiety gnawed at her, the constant reminder of the doubters and how perilously close they were to entangling their ambitions in a more profound uncertainty. Suddenly, the future felt like a cliff, the leaps they were planning more than just professional. Would they navigate the rocky terrain together, or would conflicting visions ground their aspirations in disillusionment? Lily gazed at Henry, their pages emerging from the chaos, and in that moment, a silent pact solidified between them. The journey was just beginning, yet the stakes had never felt more precarious or full of promise. Just promise me one thing, she said finally, her voice steady. Whatever path we tread, we face the consequences together. Henry's grin widened as he leaned back, intrigue spilling into his still shifting demeanor. You've got a deal, Lily. But let us make sure we leave room for the question which consequences could forge our greatest triumphs. As they pressed on into uncharted territories, a tantalizing prospect glimmered in her mind. What if the real challenge was not just the adventure of business but determining how far they would both be willing to go to protect what they were building together? The diner was quieter now, the late-night crowd thinning as the weight of their discussions settled around them. Outside, the city pulsed with the electric hum of nightlife, but inside, a different type of energy surged, one driven by possibility and the allure of untested waters. As the ink from their pen formed plans on that once blank napkin, Lily felt the shadows of her old self recede, replaced by the illuminating spark of agency. However, an unsettling undercurrent tugged at her as she gathered the scattered pages. Henry's smile was infectious, proving he was all in, but doubt lingered like smoke, drifting in and out of clarity. Could she really stand firm against the tides of challenges that awaited them? As she made her way home that night, thoughts revolved like a carousel, each rotation revealing insecurities she had thought she had placed behind her. The conversations with Henry played over and over in her mind, the promises they had made wrapped around her like a security blanket. Still, she couldn't shake the fear of external opinions blurring the vision they had crafted together. Days turned into weeks as Lily immersed herself in the intricacies of the business alongside Henry. Their meetings transitioned from the diner booth to conference rooms, and she found herself surprisingly at ease, her voice growing louder with each passing day. However, every so often, an ominous thought crept in, a fragment of a conversation overheard or a dismissive comment from someone in the industry. They reminded her that many saw her as simply a waitress, and those familiar echoes intensified when she stood poised to present their findings. Despite this, each small victory, whether securing a promising partnership or garnering positive feedback from the team, nudged her forward. There was a rhythm to it, a dance of collaboration and growth, and she began to understand Henry's insistence on adaptability. But as they pushed forward, so did the voices of doubt, insisting she would falter when the stakes rose higher. The moment came when they were invited to present their findings to a coalition of investors. It held the potential to propel their ambitions for the business into overdrive. Every ambition, every hope hinged on success. Sitting in the large, sleek conference room, executive eyes bore into her with curiosity laced with skepticism. She could feel the pulse of unease circulating through the air, a tangible force. The glass walls reflected a version of herself that felt both foreign and familiar, a woman stepping into her power. "Lily," Henry prompted quietly, nudging her shoulder as he flipped through their presentation. His trust rejuvenated a flicker of confidence. Taking a deep breath, Lily stared into the sea of expectant faces. This was her moment, a watershed where the past and future collided. She had prepared meticulously, analyzing every detail, feeling the pulse of the company and its community through market surveys and employee feedback. She savored her research, the work she had poured herself into translating into her words. "Thank you for the opportunity," she began, her voice steadying as she ignited their shared vision. As she spoke, she saw the subtle shifts in the room. Curiosity ignited as she shared their goals and strategies, painting a vivid picture of what lay ahead. But it wasn't until she spoke of the barriers they would need to face, doubts and resistance both internally and from the market, that she felt a shift within herself as well. The trepidation that had marked her journey transformed into conviction. She was not merely presenting for them, she was advocating for her identity and for everything she believed they could accomplish together. As their project culminated, silence filled the room, a pregnant pause pregnant with palpable tension. Finally, a seasoned investor spoke up, her voice colored with skepticism. "Why should we take a chance on you when others in this room have decades of experience?" The question echoed, reverberating through the energetic silence like a crack in a dam. The inquiries danced on the edges of her psyche, urging for a response rooted in her reality while demanding composure. Was she prepared for this? Taking a moment, Lily met the investor's gaze, ready to lay bare the truth. "Because together, we embody the freshness of insight paired with the weight of legacy. Because I have witnessed the challenges from the ground up, and I will not let history repeat itself." The words came with fierceness, fueled by a newly discovered resilience. Yet even as the reply quaked within her, she wondered, had she truly tapped into her potential, or was it just a veneer teasing to crack under pressure? The silence thrumming with potential courage left her heart racing, both exhilarated and terrified by the possibilities ahead. She had confronted doubt head-on, but now the question lingered, what if the reality of their vision fractured before it bled into existence? As she watched the investors exchange glances, a seed of hope burgeoned alongside an insistent fear of failure, but the moment of truth had arrived. Would they believe in her? Would they believe in them? Lily's heart thudded in her chest as the tension in the room lingered like a thick fog. The investor's question hung unresolved, a challenge that beckoned her to assert the worth of her experiences. She felt the weight of all her efforts transmuted into this singular moment, a crucible where fear could either forge resilience or be the hammer that shattered her aspirations. But as she watched the investor's expression, something clicked. The doubt that had once shrouded her mind began to dissolve, revealing clarity where uncertainty had reigned. Deep inside, she knew she could not allow herself to be defined by her past nor limited by others' perceptions. Her journey was hers alone, and each rise and fall had brought her here, equipped with insights that others with more experience might overlook. She took a breath that filled her lungs with determination. "What is essential," she continued, "is that we bring a perspective no one else in this room can offer. I've worked on the ground, I understand the real challenges, and perhaps that positions us to adapt faster and more innovatively than anyone else." The eyes of the room shifted, curiosity beginning to replace skepticism. That moment felt transformative. Lily realized she was no longer a mere shadow in the corporate lights, but a proactive force wielding insight, passion, and a vision that could reshape their project. With every word she spoke, she felt the churning doubts soften. Sharing their vision was not simply about convincing others, it was a reclaiming of her identity. She detailed the market research they had conducted and the partnerships they had begun crafting, each narrative thread organically weaving into a tapestry of potential. Yet, even as she expressed her newfound confidence, she was aware of the voices still lurking at the back of her mind, the remnants of her past whispering that she didn't belong, that her contributions were lesser, that the expectations of the industry would crush her spirit. The more she pushed against these negative thoughts, the more she felt them surge, attempting to pull her back into familiar comfort. In a seemingly spontaneous moment, she acknowledged this inner turmoil, speaking to it aloud. "I know I am still seen as the waitress, and at times I've doubted my place in these discussions. Yet, it is that very background that fuels my commitment to this project. I've seen customers dissatisfied with the status quo. I've listened to their frustrations. The pulse of our business is in empathy, and I have that in spades." The investors sat forward, engaged by her vulnerability. Each nod or subtle movement felt like an affirmation that she was bridging the gap between perception and reality. It dawned on her that vulnerability is not a weakness but a powerful tool for connection. However, her moment of triumph was short-lived, as one particularly skeptical investor leaned back in her chair and raised an eyebrow. "So, you suggest we trust a rather inexperienced team to execute this grand vision?" Despite the tension in the air, it felt like a pivotal moment, amplifying her sense of urgency. Lily's thoughts raced, weighing her options carefully. Should she succumb to the fear of inadequacy that sought to undermine her progress? Or welcome the uncertainty and embrace it as part of the journey? After a beat, she stepped forward, filled with newfound resolve. "Yes, I do. Because we are not only dreamers, we are doers, inspired by the very challenges that others shy away from. And I promise you this, our shared investment will be a catalyst for change. One driven by real-world insights, not just theoretical strategies." The room slipped into contemplative silence, the reality of her statement settling like dust before revealing an unsung potential. As she made eye contact with Henry, she saw his unshakable support reflected back, a silent agreement that they were in this together. Yet, the stronghold of dread still lay dormant, promising additional challenges ahead. Would they secure the investment and continue on this exhilarating pathway? Or would this confrontation be yet another stage in her struggle against the constricting perceptions of others? As the room buzzed back to life with murmurs, Lily's emotional state oscillated between anticipation and dread. Nothing was certain yet, the audacity to dream felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Would their labor lead to support, or would this be another painful reminder of her limitations? The meeting continued, but an internal alarm rang louder. In that moment, she recognized the only path forward was to push against the boundaries others had imposed. Her self-worth was being defined here and now, as eyes drifted back and forth among her presentation. As the final questions loomed, a shadow flicked through her mind. What would it feel like to authentically claim her space, unshakable in both purpose and conviction? With the clock ticking down on their presentation, she knew the outcome would determine more than just financial backing. It heralded the unveiling of a new chapter in her life. The true stakes were just beginning to unravel. Would they embrace her vision, or would she have to face yet another iteration of her fears head-on? The silence stretched, dense with anticipation, until the investor who had posed the challenge leaned forward, breaking the stillness. "So, what is your plan if things don't go according to that vision?" The words hit Lily like a drumbeat, demanding an immediate response, stirring the fear that still flickered inside her. For a moment, she felt like she was treading water, desperately trying to stay afloat. But rather than allowing her anxiety to short-circuit her thoughts, Lily took in the question. Planning for failure was equally as critical as having a clear vision for success. A concept that had eluded her when she first entered the corporate world. "What we must anticipate is the possibility of setbacks," she began, her voice steady, growing stronger with each word. "But we're agile, and our foundation enables us to adapt quickly. Our approach is built not just on our ideas, but also on responsive strategies. We will use feedback as a vital part of our process. By remaining engaged with our clients, responding to their needs, and adjusting as necessary, we not only mitigate risks but also enhance our solutions." The slight nodding from the investors renewed her confidence. This was a new tactic tying resilience directly to adaptability. She could almost see the skepticism in the room cracking, opening up crevices of interest. With every assertion, she was layering her identity as a leader, shifting perceptions about her role within the company and her capacity to guide it. As she continued, her internal dialogue simmered over. Each point she presented was yet another battle against self-doubt. Did she really possess this strength? The woman who had once thought shaking hands and making eye contact was an insurmountable challenge was now standing here, proposing a sophisticated business strategy. Each triumphant thought was a testament to her growth, and yet shadows of insecurity slithered forth. In a split second of vulnerability, she offered an analogy that burst forth spontaneously. "Think of our project like a live performance. There will be moments where the script changes or the music falters. But it's in those moments that we shine, adjusting quickly to create harmony. That's what we're prepared for, a partnership where our success is contingent upon our ability to navigate through the missteps." The room was captivated. Sparkles of connection ignited, proving vulnerable authenticity was disarming but also empowering. Would she still be Lily, the waitress? Or was she already transforming into the visionary leader she aspired to be? With the final query, a short yet weighty question emerged from a stoic investor in the corner. "What if you fail?" He looked directly at her, as though probing her very core. Lily understood this was not merely a question about finances, it was a metaphorical interrogation of her spirit. She inhaled deeply, the weight looming over her but no longer pressing down. "Failure teaches," she replied, the words flowing from a newfound depth of understanding. "Every setback is a lesson, an opportunity to pivot and learn. I'm not afraid of failure, I see it as an integral part of growth that shapes us into something greater." There it was again, that electric silence, and suddenly the gravity of her statement began to resonate. She was not just an ambitious dreamer, she was a student of life's myriad lessons, secure in her decision to embrace her journey fully. As the presentation drew to a close, Henry's eyes met hers across the room, their shared understanding palpable, reinforcing that they had transcended mere co-workers. They had become allies in a shared mission, both fearlessly stepping into the uncertainty together. Yet, the last lingering thought hung on her mind: had she really convinced them, or was she still dancing on the edge of doubt? The meetings concluded, but the stakes loomed higher, promising a verdict filled with possibility and trepidation. Would she stand victorious in the wake of her transformation, or would she feel the sting of defeat yet again? As the murmurs settled and discussions began to ripple, Lily felt a shift within herself, a faint pulse of excitement intertwined with fear. The real challenge was only just beginning. What awaited her was not just a decision on their proposal, but an irrevocable shift in her identity. So, standing at the threshold of change, she whispered silently to herself, what would it take to embrace the very essence of who she had become? Lily left the conference room with her heart racing, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The experience had felt monumental. She had stepped into the storm that was her own self-doubt and emerged not unscathed, but transformed. Every word she uttered had been a tentative step away from the shadow of herself, where fear and trepidation linked arms, coaxing her back into retreat. Outside, the sun bathed the bustling street in a golden hue. She paused, taking a deep breath, letting the warmth seep into her, offsetting the chill left over from the dissection of her proposals. It was a good day. No matter the outcome of the meeting, she had taken action, spoken up, and asserted herself an achievement that once felt impossible. Yet, the echoes of their questioning haunted her. How would the verdict land? Would her newfound strength be validated or falter in the unrelenting gaze of scrutiny? While walking back to her office, Lily's thoughts began to spiral into familiar territories of self-critique. What she had done was undeniable. She had turned a pivotal moment into an opportunity for growth. Yet, a nagging voice cautioned against complacency, urging her to prepare for the next challenge. She had taken the first leap into transformation, but how could she sustain this momentum? Questions taunted her as she sat back at her desk. What if the investors had only played along, masking their skepticism with curt nods? Were they genuinely interested in her vision, or had they merely entertained a fleeting curiosity? This self-doubt unfurled as a fear of rejection, yet beneath it all lay the embers of drive, a seed growing within her that craved to break through the surface. Thus, a novel strategy emerged: she would lean into feedback. She envisioned meetings with different departments, opening dialogues to refine her vision further. There was not just one way to approach their ideas. Her plan needed to evolve a living entity in constant motion, driven by the input of those working alongside her. As she jotted down notes, a fire ignited within her. Engaging those around her would fortify her credibility. That evening, she reached out to Henry, seeking his insight on the presentation. To her surprise, he was receptive, inviting her to discuss more than just his reactions. They held a brainstorming session in his office, with paper strewn about and fresh ideas flowing, pushing boundaries she hadn't even considered. Each proposal they dissected drew her deeper into the realization that collaboration magnified potential. They built on each other's strengths, revealing diverse perspectives that transformed mere concepts into vibrant strategies bursting with life and efficacy. Throughout their conversation, she could feel the walls of doubt beginning to crumble. It was Banquo demanding accountability, amongst the specters of hesitation that lingered, and each ounce of encouragement fortified her belief not only was she worthy of being there, but she possessed a unique perspective invaluable to their venture. As they solidified plans for the upcoming investor follow-up, an unsettling thought crept back in. What if she faltered again? What if the investors remained unmoved by her efforts? She had revolved through this cycle of growth before, yet survived only by the slimmest of margins. Yet, was this fear a sign of weakness or simply proof that she was vulnerable and learning? In that moment of confrontation, an unanticipated realization hit her: growth often stems from discomfort. It was not only the fear of being wrong but the fear of being misunderstood, perceived as unworthy, which kept so many from progressing. With this awareness, Lily felt an empowering wave wash over her. She might still have doubts, but there was now a burgeoning strength within her that shattered the echoes of doubt. That night, as she prepared for bed, she whispered to herself a phrase that played over and over throughout the day: "I am not afraid." The next morning would be a new battlefield, the time for feedback drawing near, but she felt ready to face whatever might come her way. And perhaps, she pondered, this could ignite her true purpose to turn fear into fuel, creating a path toward her envisioned future. Where would it take her next, she wondered, ready to dive deeper into the unknown. What awaited in the labyrinth of her own ambition? Lily emerged victorious from the recent chaos within her life, embracing the tightly knit web of her transformation. The sun warmed her face as she stepped into the diner, her once sheltering sanctuary that had donned a new cloak, shimmering with the promise of sunset possibilities. In the past, thoughts of the daily grind filled her with dread, yet now, a sense of ownership surged through her veins. She approached each table with purpose, her interactions rich with authenticity and connection. Stepping behind the counter, she was greeted by the cheerful tune of the familiar jingle, a soundtrack marking her rebirth. As she poured coffee, each cup brimmed not only with caffeine but with her invigorated spirit. The diner became a canvas where her journey painted bright strokes of determination. Now, rather than merely serving, she actively engaged patrons, eager to hear their stories. And with each exchange, the walls of her self-doubt began to crumble further. Just then, the bell chimed, and in strode Henry, the man whose presence had catalyzed her transformation. Recognition sparkled between them, a silent acknowledgement of their shared growth. They exchanged knowing glances, forming bridges of trust that spanned the gap once filled with hesitation. "Ready for our next meeting?" he inquired, a smile brightening his face. Lily nodded, her heart racing not with anxiety but with excitement for what lay ahead, a business strategy session that echoed with potential and camaraderie. Their collaborative dialogues had crafted a vision more potent than either of them anticipated. No longer the timid waitress, she had evolved into a competent partner, wielding her insights as tools to carve a path forward. As they entered the conference room this time, there was an air of certainty about her. She had prepared through assimilation and analysis, every facet meticulously shaped by a newfound clarity. Presentations of the future seemed less daunting, and promise glimmered in the eyes of their investors, mixing ambition with intrigue. "Your focus on community engagement really sets this strategy apart," one investor remarked thoughtfully. "You're drawing from real experiences, can you elaborate?" Lily took a deep breath and approached the conversation confidently. "Our vision transcends mere transactions. We aim to create a legacy that resonates with our customers. The diner wouldn't just serve food, it would foster a sense of belonging." Each word flowed smoothly, a testament to her well-worn resolve. The investors leaned forward, and the energy in the room shifted. This was not merely about financial interest, it felt like a shared investment in a dream. Empowered by their initial enthusiasm, she tapped into the reservoir of her experiences, presenting new ideas that built on their previous feedback. Inclusive marketing campaigns, partnerships with local businesses, and outreach initiatives glided effortlessly from her lips. As she engaged with them, she saw their skepticism melting away, replaced with intrigue and opportunity. For the first time, she felt undeniably worthy, a vital force intricately woven into the fabric of their ambitions. Each question posed ignited her eagerness to answer, and soon everyone was brainstorming collaboratively, voices merging into a symphony of innovation. By the end of the session, a sense of triumph washed over her. Henry leaned in, admiration radiating from his countenance. "I knew you had it in you," he said, his confidence in her infectious and sparking renewed energy within her. "Together, we've crafted something bigger than ourselves," she replied, her voice steady and resolute. With each passing moment, she felt the balance of her responsibilities shift. The once overwhelming burden became a shared venture, a legacy they were building hand in hand, resilient against the tide of doubt that had once threatened to drown her. Stepping out into the sun-drenched streets, she couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. All those hesitations and moments of self-doubt had been pivotal, each serving as a necessary catalyst for her growth. Before, she had solely been a bystander in her own life, but now she had constructed a vibrant narrative that reaffirmed her position in the world. Walking alongside Henry, she knew this was just the beginning. Their project had struck a chord, but it had ignited something far deeper within her, an understanding that she was more than just a waitress, she was a creator, a collaborator, and a true business leader in her own right. Each success etched further confidence in her heart. As they parted ways, a challenge echoed through her mind, urging her to continue pushing boundaries and exploring unmarked territories. There was more to achieve, but now she didn't flinch at the thought. She had proven to herself that she could stand amidst the giants, firm, capable, and ready to thrive. Now was the moment for all who had followed her journey to take action. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and theories about this incredible ending. Most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Together, let us lift each other up and ensure everyone recognizes the triumphs that come from heartfelt struggle and perseverance. Don't wait even one more second to share.